Um, it's good then. All right. So topic of the debate is Giyuu versus Gyomei from Demon Slayer. I got Gyomei. Deadboy's taking Giyuu. Who do you want to start first, bro?
Yo,
Wait,
Ghost, you
whoa,
know?
whoa, whoa. Whoa, let the nigga ping first. Let the nigga ping first. Let the nigga
That's
first.
fine. That's fine. I'm just asking.
Yo, who's pinging, bro?
You!
He's just one of you guys, bro.
Oh my days, like I thought this nigga was pinging. All right, what's
Yo, who's pinging, bro? Dude.
it's Demon Slayer Hooper 2.
Deadboy has Giyuu and Lucas has Gyomei.
Fucking hell. Boy, you're a rat.
You're right.
Nigga, that boy's still ratting. Like, come on.
Yeah, Deadboy, you're so tough, bro. You're fucking hilarious, bro.
This guy's judging my debate. Yikes.
Yo, bitch, you are lost to me. Don't take it there.
Not sure how to agree with this guy.
Alright,
All
my name is
right.
Ghost. Yeah, y'all can go now, but y'all can go.
Oh
You
wait,
ping
whoa, sorry. Y'all want mod? Y'all want a mod?
Um.
it?
Yo, I gotta edit the message. The second debate.
Y'all want a mod or no?
I'll be fine with. hmm,
Spit it out, nigga.
If Deadboy wants mod, then we can agree on one. But for now, I'm fine.
For now, we're
You good, bro? I'm
All right.
cooling today, bro. I'm cooling, man.
Yeah. Who do you want to? Who? Who do you want to start?
It don't matter, bro. Would you want me
I
to go
um
first? Like, where
I can
are
start.
you feel most
I
confident
can start.
in?
I'll just send my scaling chain in Scancha, and then I'll tell you what it is.
You're not a single soul of joy. I'm crying. Yeah, bro, this is bad, bro. This is bad, bro.
I don't know why
Oh,
you're talking.
People are joining.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's ironic as fuck.
I don't know why you're talking, but man,
That's
and niggas are
ironic as
good.
fuck, bro.
And niggas are
All right, y'all
joining.
can start. If y'all want to wait for more people, y'all can. But y'all want
Shut up, nigga.
to fuck up, bitch.
You said what?
All right, check Scancha. Just it's just written out for you. But also, just say it like. So scaling is basically like Gyomei goes relative to Kokushibo, who's like way above Doma and Akaza, with Doma also being above Akaza since he's upper moon too. And then like Akaza's just above Gyu.
Okay. Just tell you what I agree with, but I'm gonna just give you the discrepancies. So I agree with the fact that Gyomei has feats behind Kokushiba. I agree that Kokushiba is stronger than Dome, and I think that Giyuu is very good against the Cubs, but that's just relevant. But the only thing that matters here is all these events chronologically take place before they would get strong and right before they fight moves on, because all the Demon Slayers get an ant after surviving a battle against the Upper Moon. And that's just the only criteria for surviving the battle against the Upper Moon, because they
Oh,
all
just to be clear,
fight a
yeah.
stronger character.
All right,
I
just to
just
be
think the
clear, then,
scaling is like fast. But
so the scaling is only valid to the version of Gyu. Bro, one sec. Go see. Just mute real quick.
My
The
beer.
scaling,
My bad.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The scaling is only valid to the version of Gyu that fights Akaza, but you're saying he gets stronger, right? Basically.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And vice versa. Like I think Gyomei is on that version. Gyomei is relative to Kokushiba. Like, I know that Kokushiba is strong. I know
Okay. I
Gyomei is
mean,
strong too. That's what I'm saying. But it's
like, here's my
unquantifiable. That's the argument too. It's unquantifiable. So unless you
here's
want
my
to
one.
like, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say like. So, what amps do you think like you got? Is it just like the experience amp against Akaza?
Um, it's the amp that you directly get after fighting a surviving a enemy, and there's an amp that you get after fighting someone that's close to on the same strength as you.
But
It's unquantified.
that would
It's
be
two
like
different
from
amps.
his heart from Akaza, right? Though.
Yeah, like directly after survival battles. Same thing for Gion. Same thing for any demon slayer. Not even just don't even restrict it to just that. I think it's a constant that if you survive a value to upper middle that you get unqualified.
I
It
mean,
goes for everybody.
here's my first thing though, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'll say there's two problems I have with that. Like, for one, let's just go with the notion that was like completely unquantifiable, because I do have one thing to say about that. But even if it was like completely unquantifiable, right? Like, Gyomei fights Kokushibo, Giyuu fights Akaza, they got unquantifiable amps after that. You still have more priors for Gyomei to be stronger, right? Because okay, both of them get an X amount of amp, but it's like Gyomei starting out with a higher power level than Giyuu, right? So it's like it's X, just the unknown variable, plus a higher power for Gyomei does give you more priors to still assume that Gyomei is stronger, because before they're in quantifiable amps, he just had like way better feats, right? So it's like
I mean,
in terms of who
yeah,
has higher probability to win would be the person
I
that already
mean,
started out.
but that's okay. So I think that would just be a pure probability right there, because based off the fact that there is still that quantifiable unknown variable, that's like by definition would be a pure probability. The reason why is that's the case because we know that the ant is unquantifiable. So I can understand that the argument that you're saying that this person could have more of a chance or more of a prior to say so, still make a definitive fact or any sort of type of supporting to an argument, it would be a probability. But this also just respond to that. The priors get defeated based off of new evidence that shows what they actually scared. It's just the easiest way to explain that.
Okay, I mean, for one, okay, so first off, like, I don't think it's really an appeal probability, because again, appeal to probability is if I'm just asserting that something should be true just due to like there being a probability that it is right. I'm more so saying that there's higher probability, like how you traditionally would argue in a debate, right? We have higher priors for Gyomei being stronger. Not necessarily a likely. Well, we have more likely probabilities, and there's higher
I don't
probability
think it's that
because of
like
the fact. Because let me just continue. Like, because of the fact that he already starts off stronger, right? It's like we at least would have to. The thing about with the Giyuu thing is that we'd have to say that they not only get, like, you could do it with in a sense of like the principle of indifference too, right? Like, okay, if you have an amp that you can't really quantify, there's three possibilities with this amp, right? That they get, the experience amp from the upper moods. It's either gonna be that they get the same amp, right? This either Giyu's is gonna be higher or that he's gonna be lower, right? Like Gyomei is gonna get a bigger amp or he's gonna get a smaller amp. Those are the three possibilities for the amps they get. Two or three of those possibilities, right, do favor Guillaume still being stronger. Because obviously, if he gets an equal amp, well, he
I
already started
mean,
off as.
not necessarily. Let me just explain why. Because we know this like the pillars of the amp is based off it being experienced. I know that Guillaume is already a more experienced fighter. So what if he is not too much experience for him to gain from gaining this amp? And what if Giyuu gains a greater amount of experience? Because we do know that Giyuu stated to have one of the most highest potentials early in first with his like, water stuff. So
Mhm.
even if I were to say that, I can just give the ability that he would gain 10 years of experience on top of that, which would have been able to make him in a place where he could surpass Gyomei in terms of power skill. And I think that's, again, I understand we're talking about probabilities here, but all that shit just doesn't matter to me when we have actual verifiable evidence that this character is performing better feats later on after they both receive the answers. So you can go down the whole chain of the two probabilities, the three possible things. I don't really think that even necessarily matters when I just gave you the interpretation that this could be the case, along with the fact that the feats that I'm about to show you, there's no other way to argue that Guillaume performed better. There just wouldn't be a way to argue. So there's only at that point in time, there's only one interpretation to go with. There's literally no other, you know, good
Yeah.
or accessible explanation to why you should be performing against a better character if your, interpretation went through. So we can
Okay.
just
I mean,
probably move on what I'm like my interpret like my
yeah. Here's how I respond to that. Like, I mean, first off, yeah, I'm gonna need to see like those feats and whatnot. But before you're getting that, or like as you're getting that, right? Just to respond to the what's it called? Just to respond to the notion of like why Gyu should get a higher experience amp. I mean, even if Gyu does have more potential, I don't know if it's necessarily in the regard of like what the experience would grant him. This is what I mean. Like, okay, Gyu can have like more like physical potential, right, as in his stats, maybe like with his breathing or whatnot. But like in terms of what he gets from gaining experience, I don't know if like his mind is like more susceptible to like learning battle tactics and whatnot as than Guillaume's, right? Because it also depends on the battle, right? The battle that they're going through and what they're learning from as they fight the upper moons, like what the upper moons are doing and how they learn to counter it, is also going to play into what experience they get. So it's not just even if Gyuu's like mind was like more adaptable to like learning things in Gyomei. It wasn't just like a physical thing he has better potential in. But if the battle also isn't something that he can draw as much experience upon from than the battle that Gyomei had with Kokoshibo, then he also wouldn't like, then you couldn't really use that argument to say that, oh yeah, we should know that his experience amp is going to be higher. And to go back to the whole like principle of indifferencing, right? We have two possibilities of the amp being bigger or like in Gyomei's favor for scaling above, and then only one, right? It's like a 33% chance. Yeah.
So, let me respond to that. You're talking in terms of who wins the fight. So regardless of how he obtains this, how this camp affects him, it would allow him to perform better in certain fights, which would allow him to achieve more scaling. Like I'm under the belief that you can be I'm not conceding the fact that Gyomei is stronger and faster, but I think you can have more physicals than another person and still lose to them. Like I don't really think that necessarily matters. I think the experience this game is context dependent. And all that other judge, I agree it's context dependent. I agree it's based off what you went through in the fight. I can personally agree with that. But that doesn't change the fact that it's allowing you to gain access in a way where it allows you to win more battles early. And that's what we're talking about who would win the fight. And necessarily it's all doesn't just brought down to him. Oh, he got 5 times stronger. Like that doesn't necessarily matter. What only matters is the tangible evidence that this character performs better than this character. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So in order of us going around this little loophole, we have actual proof to who's just performing better. And that's what it could just boil down to. I'm telling you, we're simply arguing for no reason because I'm saying there's no other two possibilities when I just have this one certainty that this character has better feats. It just doesn't make sense. Their interpretations
Okay.
are through. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you could just send these better feats, and just for the record, I do agree that like experience amps are like combative amps. I just want to like preemptively get that out of the way. Yeah,
But
let's.
not all amps necessarily have to just be straight speed or anything like that. Like you can
Yeah,
still
no, I agree.
get the
I agree. Like
yeah.
for this purpose of scaling, overall scaling, I get. Yeah, I just like yeah, you just send like the better feats so we can like that you have.
Um, do you Trump, you got no stand of Giyuu like blocking the parry and move on and shit,
Yeah,
Um.
I got them, bro. Don't worry, bro.
blocking and reacting. To,
I said I got them, little nigga.
all right, go get them shit.
Yeah, okay, bro. I
Before
gotta
you
get
forget,
honest.
are you like aware of what happens to Muzan? Like, are you aware like he's gotten like weaker right throughout the battle
Who that
and
Giyuu was
slower?
getting weaker throughout the Muzan battle?
No, Muzan.
That Muzan was getting weaker throughout the thing.
Look in general chat, little bro.
I got you. Yeah, are you aware? He's in the general. And are you aware like the Muzan got like weaker, slower through the battle, and like as more people was coming, it became more difficult in the fight. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know they quantify like how much we was getting by the minute? No, that was right.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of forgot. You could remind me though.
The age is 50 years per minute, and they've been fighting like the whole fight last night for the sun. So when Giyuu and Gyomei, no Giyuu and Tandra are like the first to like encounter Muzan, so it's like earlier. And then at this point in time, Gyomei is still fighting Kokoshiba and stuff like that. And then more people come, and then Gyomei comes towards like later on, closer to when it's about the turn of the sun. So there's patches of time that's gone through quantifying this character weaker slower. And he even like dictates like I would have been. He literally says I would have been one by now if it wasn't for this. So it's obviously from a very low. But he's at a schedule though. Yeah,
Wait, could you repeat
I'm
that?
telling
Like, could you repeat that last part? Because I'm not gonna lie, your mic is kind of like low. That
what's wrong with my mic?
it's just kind of low. Like, you're a little quiet compared to the rest. Like, I'm actually like putting my head right next to my laptop just to hear you.
Not bad, bro. Not better now.
Yeah, you're better now. Just repeat that like last part. That's
Yeah.
like 5.
So
Mhm.
Muzan, they quantify how much weaker he's getting. He's aging 50 years per minute. Giyuu and interact with Muzan way earlier than the Gyomei would have. Just using logic.
Mhm.
Gyomei was fighting Kochi. Then Iguro and Kanroji comes after they were still fighting Doc, whatever that girl was with the shit that's like moving the castle. At the same time, the shit I'm talking about with Muzan happened with Giyuu. They all have an interaction. Then not till later on is when Gyomei comes in on at this point in time way weaker version of Muzan that Giyuu would have been fighting due to aging and due to getting slower and weaker. Then on top of that, he's nerfed because he's fighting multiple of them at the same time. As Gyomei remarks, if one of us get knocked off, then it makes the fight way harder for us. So, what do you have in response to that?
Okay, so just to be clear, just make sure I heard you right. You're saying that Gyu has better performance on a more, and I understood the nerfs that you were like talking about, but just to be clear, you're saying like the way this connects back is saying that Gyu has better performance than Gyomei on Muzan, and he's fighting a less nerfed Muzan.
The reason why he has a better performance is because he's letting go way stronger moves on. Yes,
But wait,
but
like,
when that
well, that's also gonna assume that like he has better physical feats, right? Because okay, just because he's
no,
fighting a
yeah, no, it automatically means he has better feats if he's fighting faster and stronger character. There's no way
no,
that
because it
Guillaume's no, listen. If
yeah, all right.
Guillaume's going bar for bar with a weaker character, you cannot assert the fact that Guillaume scales above a person that was fighting that character when they were actually stronger and faster. It does not make sense. It actually does not make
Okay,
sense.
my response
At
to
all.
that is that yeah, my response to that is simply that, like, okay, maybe off that I can't assert that Guillaume is stronger than Gyu, but what you can't do is say that. One sec. Off of that, like, off of those feats only, right? I'm saying like, wait, one sec. I'm saying like, you can't because here's the problem. Just because you fight what's it called? Just because you fight someone stronger, right? If you don't have the same level or better level of feats than the person, then you're not stronger than them, right? Like for example, if I'm fighting a guy and I go band for band with him, right? But then he gets stronger and then another guy goes and fights him and he's like barely able to keep up with him and he's getting like mostly like throttled in the fight.
Um,
That doesn't really scale you above. It's like I'll need to see
um,
like was Guillaume actually having a same level of performance, if not a worse level of performance, against this weak?
I don't think you're understanding, Lucas. This is power scaling, right? When you debate, we're power scaling what character is fighting a character when they're at their peak, or we take into the account the nervous system like that. Power scaling one is if I'm fighting a character who's at a hundred and I'm able to react to character A at his best. If this person fights character B when he's at 70, and then he's able to react but get tagged and go bar for bar with character at 70, he's at the level of the character at the 70 because that's what he's showing. He has not shown feats on a character at his best. So you would have no pillars or substantiation to say that that character
Did
will
he cut
perform
out?
at that level because they're directly performing with the character. Like this is actually right for power scaling because like I don't care what it is. The fact that he's getting reacted to, dodged, parried, and fighting a weaker version. Literally, he moves on and literally says, "I'm the one who's slow. I've gotten way slower." So if we're talking about in power scale, like who's winning the speed. If I'm reacting to a faster Muzan, I react at a better speed. That's what I'm trying to tell
Okay, I mean, I get that, but what you're failing to consider is that, like, that's why I asked to see the exact performance because I don't think merely reacting to someone or being able to keep up with them to some regard scales you one to one with that character, right? For example, if you're able to be like low and relative with someone, like you're able to like dodge an attack or two, not get like blitzed and like
you.
completely throttled in the fight, that doesn't mean you're necessarily on that level, but you can scale somewhat to that level, right? So it's still compatible that maybe Guillaume has goes bar for bar with a weaker Muzan, and that Giyuu is able to keep up with a stronger Muzan. But Gyuu's performance doesn't actually prove that he's on the level of that stronger Muzan, right? So that he can keep up to some degree. He could just be. There's some. Wait, one sec. There's some ridiculous echo, bro. I don't know who that is. Okay, it's better now. Anyways, like for example, like the weaker Muzan that Gyomei fights bar for bar with could be able to like keep up a bit with his like stronger self that fights Giyuu. There's not really a confliction there. Like I'm not saying they're on the same level, but that's why I need to see like the performance comparison because like the feats that, for example, Trouble sent here don't really prove that they're on the same level either. My point.
He he he, he tells us that it's at a considerable level that he would have won already. He's saying I shouldn't be struggling. That's what he says. That's the indication. He says I'm struggling. That's why I've been struggling with these demon slayers this whole time. He says if I wasn't weakened, I wouldn't be struggling. That's literally the indication that he's making. So that's it wouldn't even be a contest. And also talk about that. I said something earlier to also give credence to why Giyuu's performing better. It's because Giyuu's fighting him with way less people than what Gyomei would have already done. But Gyomei comes when everyone's already there. So I'm trying to tell you. And Gyomei's the one that makes a statement. If one of y'all get knocked off, it makes the battle way harder for us. It's easier for us to all fight him at the same time. He cannot fight at his full capacity. So not only is he nerfed via stats, and there's a quantification of the stats, how bad he's being nerfed. He's also nerfed in the fact that he's getting jumped by multiple niggas. So it's stated by the nigga that starts jumping them that this is the upper hand that we have. He's scared of the fact that if one of y'all get knocked off, then we're not gonna be able to fight. And to be honest with you, he's fighting him. Let me just give you the numbers of who Gyomei's jumping in with. He's jumping in with Giyuu, Tanjiro, Kanroji, Igoro, fucking himself, Sonomy. That's 6 niggas. And I think it's a 7 nigga that hopped him out. So they 7-on-1 against nigga when Giyuu was reacting and parrying when it was way easier for Muzan to fight, and it's only 2. So already, I actually have more credence to why Giyuu would be performing and have be the stronger character here because he fought the stronger character, he reacted to the faster character, and he's able to fight him more so in a sense where it's more direct contact than the other person's attention being divided, so not being able to put his full undivided attention on him. That's all I'm trying to tell you. And on top of the fact, the version that this person's fighting is saying how much weaker he is. I think it's very simple to understand that, and I don't understand why we need to keep going over this point. I think I've already hashed out what I need to hash out. Unless you have a response, I feel like we can move on.
Yeah, I'll just say this again, and if we end up just going in circles, like obviously we can conclude. We'd be here all day, but I'll just say this: like, yeah, I mean, here's the problem that I have, right? It's like we need to find a way because I can agree that the nerf is pretty substantial, right? Like at least the conjunction of like aging and the jumping; those are 2 separate nerfs. I can agree those are substantial, but especially because he was also still like aging during the Giyuu fight, and he is still getting jumped, even though it's to a lesser extent, obviously. In the Giyuu fight, how can you really say that it's such a substantial nerf that it means that Giyuu has better scaling if we can't actually verify that Giyuu has a better performance than Gyomei, right? Because it's a conjunction of 2 things that actually have you have higher scaling, right? It's facing off against somebody who's stronger while also having the same, if not better, performance. I gave that analogy earlier with like me fighting someone. He needs to have the same, or like we need to see that he has the same, if not a better performance than Gyomei when he was fighting Muzan on top of the fact to use that in conjunction with the fact that Gyomei fought a weaker one or a more nerfed one, to really say that he.
We can just you can have them get their judgment. I don't think you respond to what I said.
Wait, well, you want to conclude? My bad.
I think they can just get their judgment.
All right, that works.
Yeah, Dom.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, Lucas, I want to ask you a question. Just now you said that you don't agree that the nerfs are substantial, but you're asking how can you say that it's such a substantial nerf to then put Giyuu over Gyomei if you don't have, or if we don't see Giyuu having the performances above Gyomei?
Yeah, I'm basically saying because I didn't even like get anything for the performance of Gyomei, but he's implying that like they were going bar for bar, they were fighting each other, right? So that's who's echoing. I think it's good. Okay, I'm saying like if you,
Oh, my
like,
bad.
if you, yeah, I'm saying like if you
I
can't show,
what I,
yeah,
my fault.
well at least I'll tell him, and if you want to clarify, that's fine. But he just asked me, so I'll go first. Like, just tell him that basically, yeah, if his performance on Son wasn't inherently better or the same, right? Then it's basically irrelevant that he's fighting a stronger one, unless you can quantify that it's substantial to the extent that like his like low end relativity that I saw through these scans is like enough to
I,
scale him above.
I gave a I already gave a qualification. That's why I feel like that's why he didn't respond.
Uh,
Your
okay. Yeah, Shepard, what's your judgment?
based off what moves on said.
I believe my judgment is that I believe that boy won. What's your judgment?
Let me keep the notes real quick again, bro. Okay, look, you missed the part, but it's okay. So Lucas says, "Give me." Okay, Lucas, real quick. Another clarifying question: if he told you that, or if he basically just concedes the fact that Gyomei can be above a weaker Giyuu because after that amp, Giyuu performed better than him, what was your response to that? You said it was unquantifiable. The amp,
Wait, what'd you say? Can you repeat that real quick, Kosi?
right? Because he agreed to the fact that Gyomei was above a weaker Giyuu, but he said after he survived the upper moon, they get like some crazy ass amp. So after he got that crazy ass amp, he was levels above Guillaume, and he's saying that based off the performances he's seen the moves on fight.
Yeah, well, here's basically how that went. Like, so before he went to the, before he, yeah, just mute up real quick because I think there's an echo. But before we got to the performance that says, okay, even if they get a non-quantified amp, not only do they have more priors because Gyomei got his amp while he was already stronger, but at the same time, you can use the principle of indifference. And they're like, okay, there's three possibilities for Gyu's amp. It's either the same as Gyomei's, it's either bigger or it's smaller, right? And then obviously two of three of those possibilities just favor, what's it called? Guillaume still being above, then that gives you more probability. And then he said, okay, well then he has more he has like better scaling through the Muzan fight. But that's why I asked him, like, how can you assert that Giyu's performance, even though he's relative to some extent, how can you say that it's more better or the same as Guillaume's? Because you need that to also say that he scales above. Not enough to just say, oh, he got a stronger Muzan if he doesn't have the same or better performance against a stronger character. You know what I mean?
Okay. Didn't he quantify why Gio's amp be better via his experience?
Well, he said that, but then I said, okay, the experience amp is gonna like. He said, okay, Giyuu has more potential, right? Then I said, Gyuu's potential could be in terms of his physicals rather than his like mental ability to like learn from fights, right? Which is what the experience amp is. It's a mental thing. And then I also said that it also depends on the battle they have, right? So even if Giyuu has more potential for learning in fights, if Gyuu's fight isn't like what's it called? If Gyuu's fight
Wait, okay, real
isn't
quick.
as like
I didn't mean to interrupt, but does it give any credence to that? Because you realize that you're in the affirmative still, right? So you trying to equalize that interpretation, which is
well, no,
that's good for you.
he's the one that's trying to bring an argument for why my scaling doesn't work, right? Like I use the whole like principle of indifference thing, and he's like, okay, well, to counteract this, face value maybe, but he's like, to counteract this, I have evidence to suggest that Giyuu would be more, or he would get a better amp. Now he's affirming that
Can I clarify real
a
quick?
better amp.
So I
Okay.
said I gave an interpretation along with he gave interpretation of what the experience could be. I just had a prior interpretation, and I just said this the evidence just goes and more in line with my interpretation. It makes more sense.
And then the evidence, like clarify, go see, like he's talking about the Muslim thing that we also argued about later.
Yeah. So I gave an interpretation on it, or what the experience was, why I think from that you got stronger, can't get stronger. And I said my interpretation would be supported by the fact of him fighting a stronger and faster character. That's what I said.
We can end the rec too, just because we've already basically done the debate, right?
No, yeah. Holy shit, Lucas, you're a dry. Deadboy one. Are you